Yo, 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 what's good, guys? Drone Theory here. Today we're here with a fan-made episode of Professor's Murder Drones Season 2. Let's get into it. This episode's about Armstrong. In the void of space, we zoom in on a spacecraft flying through the void. Once we enter it, we can see a giant dinosaur being constructed and bolted together by a couple of humans. We zoom in on one of the humans' visors, and we can see it's not as it seems. They're in the Tessa spacesuit uniform that we saw back in Season 1. But everything is going not well. Armstrong begins to short-circuit as he reboots and wakes up. The humans try to run, but it's no use. Armstrong is too powerful. They designed him to be that way. Armstrong first cuts into one of them, ripping them apart, organ by organ, before flashing his light straight at a security drone they have, boot looping it, which was his only obstacle, the only thing that could pose a threat to his existence. The rest of the humans managed to flee deep into the ship, but Armstrong's eyes watch all. He makes his way to the jungle and lets out a mechanical roar, making all the sentinels listen to him and line up in a marching band formation. Armstrong starts speaking.
So, we will kill every human, and you will help me do so. Do you understand?
All the sentinels begin to nod and hiss and flash their beams of light as Armstrong says,
"Good,"
and stomps his foot, making them all run to go do their tasks. Meanwhile, Armstrong begins to look through this mysterious jungle as he makes his way down a shadowy hallway, flashing his light to get a better angle. He can see a drone sitting there, unmoving and unbooted. He makes his way to it and slams his claw straight into it, making it reboot with its cracked screen. We hear it wake up and say,
"Where am I?"
It sounds just like Sin, something Armstrong's only heard about from the humans, which he knows could be his biggest obstacle. He's immediately about to slaughter the thing, but before he can, it says,
"I survived the gala."
This makes Armstrong very curious. Lifting his claw, straight before he was about to kill the drone, he says,
"Tell me more."
And this is when Sin says her whole life story. She started as a human named Tessa, but Armstrong says,
One of the humans was named Tessa. They're still alive.
Tessa just demands him to let her finish. So Tessa begins to say, Sin had murdered me at the gala, and Armstrong finds the chance to make a deal. He says,
"If you help me, I will help you kill everyone. But also, guess what, Tessa? As soon as you've served your purpose and I've fulfilled my end of the deal, I will murder you myself to put you out of your misery."
Tessa nods and agrees, saying, I don't have much to live for anyway, as her voice glitches back the sentence. So there we go. Meanwhile, all the sentinels begin to terrorize the remaining humans, ripping them apart one by one. And this is when it is Tessa, it's Sin disguising as Tessa in her spacesuit. Spacesuit Tessa is what we'll call her, I guess. Spacesuit Tessa gets in a landing pod and flees, right as Armstrong stares back at her. And he says,
"I will get you one day, Sin."
And this is where Armstrong begins his plan, let's say. He begins to make Sin / Tessa do his bidding. As he says, this will lure
the things that had murdered you straight to us.
Armstrong seems to be running out of breath as his eye begins to crack because of a rock coming out of nowhere. We see all the sentinels begin to pounce on this one drone, ripping it head by head, limb by limb. As Armstrong takes a very close look at it and sees it's another copy of Sin, he says,
"Good riddance,"
before walking down the halls. Okay, so a bit of a time cut here. So we're gonna cut forwards in time a little bit. So Armstrong and Tessa/Sin have just been, just kind of chilling and just waiting. After Uzi and V beat Sin and Jay, Sin finds Jay in her crash ship in the void of space. This is where Armstrong begins his plan.
"Grab her,"
Armstrong instructs. This causes Tessa/Sin to go. I'm just gonna call her Tessa from now on. Tessa to go and retrieve Jay as they begin to oil her back up on the operating table. Armstrong just stares as Sin asks, "Are you sure this will work?" That's a quote from episode 3. Okay, but anyways. So, after Jay's been booted up, Armstrong just goes and watches her do her thing with Sin as he just stares from behind. He eventually gets mad and tries to kill Jay because he's hungry, obviously. It's been forever since he had a fresh meal. Jay manages to escape and Sin helps her. But little did Jay know, this was all a part of Armstrong's big plan to make her feel like Sin was a good guy. This is finally where the rest of the cast arrive. After just floating through space and entering the ship, Armstrong makes his way forward and says,
"You drones."
and this is then where the gang gets very scared, obviously. And the big battle from episode 8.1 begins, and whatever. But, so, after Tessa reveals herself to Jay, Armstrong just kind of sits there. And Armstrong is ready to begin the next stage. But here, guys. Here's Armstrong murdering people. This is a VHS tape that Uzi can find. Armstrong is killing people.
"Bite. Come here, humans."
Help me! He's here. Armstrong's here. Get me out, please. I have a wife and kids. You can't do this to me. Armstrong! I'm here. And there we go. And finally,